All right. So you have the stream pulled up now, right?
Yes, I'm
And
watching
it's
it.
and it's and it's playing just fine.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, watch all the way through, and then we'll go over the specifics.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see how there's like a lot of poking, and I'm not really running offense yet. I'm kind of just doing shit
Yeah.
and then watching you. And here we go. I missed my punish. You get a good punish right there. I will say, that is -13. I'll mention that in a bit. No punish there. Heat smash. I was able to avoid it with punish.
Is that a 1+2 or a 2?
That's a two
Or
break.
1? That's a 2. Okay, okay, okay.
Poke. Nothing. And then just I go in because you weren't doing anything.
Yeah, I feel like when my back is against wall, I don't really know what to do.
Yeah, we'll go over that. See, counter pokes right back. Just Idra's taking our turn, and then I make that little setup there.
Yeah, the setup got me.
Got it. Stay down there.
I thought you were gonna do the high option out of that.
Yeah, it is what it is. Damn, that
And
was
then
a,
I
that
got
was a
up
mistake that
wrong.
fucking killed you. Like Jesus, that
Yeah,
and that, you got up wrong, but that's only because I fucked it up. If I did that right, you wouldn't have survived anyway.
oh, yeah.
Good wall pressure in this whole sequence right here, I have to say.
And is that safe?
What the
The
knee into the
the
yellow?
knee. Yeah.
Hell no. We'll talk. Actually, yeah. Now that we have that, let's just go back to the beginning. Um, so so I mentioned right away that what the hell? I place a posit on that. What I was doing right here early on was I was kind of whacking you with like lows and pokes and whatnot, and then backing off and just waiting on you. So
Yeah.
something that just me and then a lot of Jack players do. This is something that I just model off of Anakin, to be totally honest. Is that obviously Jack's low pokes aren't really too worth it to deal with just because they're pretty low damage, but they're pretty annoying as hell, and they are like killing your health. So
Yeah.
you can't just let me
A
keep
lot
doing
of them
them.
just yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of them just add up over time.
exactly. So a lot of what I do, especially early on in this set, is I will throw these at you, and I'm just paying attention to what's going on. Are these being blocked? Are these being low parried? Are these being sept? Or am I just hitting them? And then if I'm hitting them, then okay, what's going on after? How many of these is this guy willing to take before he responds in some way?
Right.
And then I look for that response and start picking appropriate options from there. That's at least what I try to do. I'm not always successful at it, but in general, this is why a lot of people focus on like small teching and poking, because by doing this and kind of annoying you, they get you to reveal your hand.
Okay.
And everything that you like do and don't do actually tells your opponent how to beat you, and vice versa. The trick, of course, is having the literacy to see those things and execute on them.
Okay.
So just back off to the beginning again of this. I hate how Twitch just has to go so far damn back. So poke +1. You duck it, but you don't punish that second one.
What's the frame data on that? On the hit on the low.
Oh, there's a standing knockback one is only +1.
Okay.
It's +1 and it
Okay.
recovers crouching. It doesn't high crush in and of itself. It only recovers crouching. Um,
Okay.
so I throw that one there, and then you block the second one, but you weren't ready for it. This is only -12 to be fair, so you only get while
So
standing
I could
4.
just do wall rise. Yeah, wall rising 4.
Yeah. In general, if you want to do anything about down back 1, you want to sidestep left or low parry it. Um,
Okay.
that's also especially true for full crouch down back 1, as we'll get to later. But yeah. delayed hop kick. I think that was just a mess up punish right there. QCF
Yeah,
3, down forward 1. I down back to retaliate, and then we just trade pokes back and forth for a bit. And finally, you actually call out my down back 1 and you get the forward 4, and I fuck up my punish here. I will say, forward 4 in general, I do like how you use it as much as you did in the set, because it's actually a pretty good button for dealing with Jack, just because of how it low crushes, you know?
yeah. The
Like,
low crushing property is kind of great.
it's also, if I'm not mistaken, like, not very minus. It's like, what, -6 or something?
Yeah, I believe it's safe on block.
It's definitely safe on block. I just don't recall off the top of my head if it's where's my phone actually? Oh, it's over there. I can't remember if it's like -6 or -8. Um, Heihachi bunt, ball, forward 4. -5?
Oh,
Jesus!
damn.
Spam that shit, dude! What the fuck? Okay. Anyway, moving on. So, oh, real quick. Um, After
Yeah,
you catch me to this forward
yeah,
4 and you rip Demo Man, I will go ahead and say, like, yeah, Demo Man after Heat Engager, you can definitely do that, but Chino can tell you everyone can backdash this to make
yeah,
the initial hit not hit clean.
yeah. Nate does it to me all the time. I just feel like I can't get close enough to do it, which stinks.
You genuinely can't. Heat Engager just doesn't put you at the spacing for it. If the opponent isn't doing anything, then by all means rip it, but just be wary of that.
Okay,
And I should have launch punched you here, but I fucked it up. This move right here, the 1+2 is -10. No, sorry, -13. So you actually
okay. So
should be forward 2 punishing that.
forward two. Okay, okay. I just went with the back 2-1 because it's just the safe. Oh, I mean, for me, it's just a.
And I'm going to say
That's
right now,
fine. That's
that is
fine.
fair. Unless you really go out of your way to practice it, I want you to either back 1-2 or shoulder punish everything that isn't launcher -10.
Yeah.
Okay, we trade here. You come in, you stop right there for the windmill punch. That was good. Um,
Yeah, I was seeing if you were gonna do the high
Yeah, if you're unsure, you can
option.
just dick jab OS it. But doing nothing and not interacting with it is fine. It's just you if they do go for the high, it will guard break you and at -15, so you can be launched for a scaled combo, but still a combo.
Okay, I'll have
This
to
right here,
remember that. So
-15. I will say shoulder OS punishes that because the extensions will trade with I-14, so they have 13 frame interrupts. So this 4 1+2 right here that whiffed, you can just shoulder punish it, and it will work 100% of the time. If they do just the 4 1+2 on its own, that is -15, but a 15 frame punish will lose to the extensions. So make of that what you will.
I should just shoulder here then
Yeah,
on
like I said,
punish.
you could have launched me, but if you want to OS the extensions, just rip shoulder.
Okay, okay.
One throw gets
I'll have to
broken.
lab that.
Yeah, you use the blue demo man at just improper spacing. Didn't break the 2 throw here. I fuck up this little combo, and this right here is what I kind of want to talk about. Because I hit you with this down back 1, and then I just go straight into Heat Smash. I do this because at +1, and the fact that you can do Heat Smashes from crouch, this comes out of basically frame 9. You can't do a goddamn thing about it. And you hold it,
Okay,
which is good. And I do want to go ahead and point out that the frames on Jack's Heat Smash on block are -9. Um, which means that you can run in on him and do something if the Jack player is trying to do it too, but yeah, just information to throw out. But
mhm,
here, I come up to you and I just whack you with the full crouch snapback 1. And I do this because, in general, I've so far been allowed to just come up and hit you with lows whenever I want. Like, yeah, sure, you ducked one of them and you forward over another, but those are like reads. Your neutral allows me to come up and just do this to you.
okay. So I should
And
just be throwing shredder kicks then.
no. So I'm actually now going to go ahead and swap over to swap the display over to Tekken real quick
Okay,
because I want to go ahead and demonstrate something that's going to be really important for how you play like the matchup against Jack. Because full crouch knockback 1, because you gotta figure, it takes 6 frames to enter full crouch, and full crouch knockback, polarizer for first hit is I-14. So essentially every time that's happening, you are letting me come up and just whack you with an I-20 low, when you really think about it.
Yeah. So I definitely do have enough time to react to it.
It's not even just that, but like you can just like use like you're just moving it in general and like your spacing and how you're responding to my movement to kind of space around it, or like just see that, hey, Jack is kind of like running up and doing full crouch knockback 1-1 on me. I should I should go ahead and like start like, sidewalking or backdashing it.
Hmm.
Like you can like, hop kick it on a read, but damn, why is that not happening? This is annoying. I've had Lily players that just like preemptively sidewalk this shit. But I guess maybe it's like a spacing thing. If like Jack is like too close, it can't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, you like see how like from like right here, the full crouch knockback 1 whiffs. It has a much bigger hitbox up close, but a really small hitbox like the further away you are.
Okay.
So if you're basically like just moving around and not like letting me come up on you like that, and I have to like really deep dash into you, you can just go ahead and like start doing sidewalk left as a read.
Okay.
This is very similar in concept to like the way a lot of people talk about like the Mishima matchup, where you want to sidewalk left to beat the electric and the hell sweep. That's like
Hmm.
something that you're not doing that in like poking situations, plus frame situations, mix up situations. That's a neutral thing. That's you
Okay.
seeing the Kazuya come up on you, or just reading that reading it based on their timing, like how many back dashes, forward dashes, side steps, or whatever does it take before they'll go in. You do that, and it's like, okay, electric now, or you'll just start sidewalking in general in case for it. And with Jack and full crouch knockback 1, again, it shouldn't be that easy for them to do it. I'm not saying this is like a judgment thing, just more something to work on, thinking about in
Hmm.
terms of the game, because if I have to like deal with like keep out buttons like down one, like your jabs and whatnot, if you're kind of like sway back whatever, it makes it more ambiguous on when I'm able to do it. And especially if you are able to like counter hit me coming in, or sidestep the button as it's coming out and blow me up for it, that's opportunities you should be hunting for. Again, everything that you do or don't do gives your opponent instructions on what to do if they're able to notice it.
Hmm.
Because now going back to the stream here, let's see right here. I fuck up the volcano buster, and then we get the down back 1 into heat smash on block. You dash up, but then you just hold back, and I'm just able to just come in and just do this. In general, your
So I
goal
just
should be to get off the wall here. Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah. You should generally be
So in
wanting.
like
So what's up?
so in like situations like this after the heat smash, I should have just kept dashing up to get away from the wall.
At the very least, yeah. Maybe not necessarily like within my range. That's probably why you stopped. But yeah, get the fuck out of the corner when you can.
Okay.
So again, I whack you a full crouch knockback 1, and then I back off, and then now I'm just coming in again because I noticed that you weren't doing anything, and I figured that after the down back 1-1, you would finally flinch, and that's why I rip the wall standing 4. Do you know the frames
Mm.
of Jack's full crouch down back 1 second hit?
Second hit, no.
-6.
-6. Okay.
Yep. And that's actually pretty important because Jack is left crouching. So in general, the best thing to do overall, don't do this all the time because there's the mix up with the third hit. Um,
Yeah.
but in general, a 13 frame mid check just to stop the situation, make him block, and just get him back standing is usually the best thing to do. The only thing to be a little worried about with that is that because Power Crush is activated on frame 7, he can Gamma Howl armor 13 frame mids. So that is something to look out for. But your down forward one, if you just do the down forward on one on its own with no sway back, it doesn't. He can't do anything with it. You're able to block just fine.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
So if you do second hit, just down forward one check just in case, but not all the time.
yeah, again, not all the time because the third hit will blow you up for doing that. But the third hit is -14, and you can back four punish that for a launch. And
Yes.
we're gonna talk
Yes.
about 14 frame punishes in here. uh, so anyway, moving on to the next round now. So now that I've noticed that in general, you're not willing to take risks to stop me so far, I'm able to just go in and just start jab checking you and low checking you again. And then now that that's something that's kind
Yeah,
of
now
sneaky
that
that
I'm
some people
afraid of the
do.
lows.
Yeah, I just duck and then while standing one. That is something to look out for sure. Because not even just Jack players, like a lot of people in general will just catch you with that when they notice that you're starting to get like really scared or frustrated with their lows. And I go for a little Oki thing right here. You did the right option. Because a lot of people will spring kick here, but look at that crazy fucking backsway.
Yeah.
Some character spring kicks will hit, others won't. It kind of depends on the character, but most of them will whiff, and Jack can fucking down forward to whiff punish them. It's insane. So good option there.
Interesting. Okay.
Good option there just to stay
I
down.
was just afraid of the charged mid that would freaking blow me up if I even got up wrong. So I was just like, I'm just gonna stay on the floor.
In Tekken 7, and it was unblockable, but in this game they changed it to a massive chip damage move that gives install.
Yeah.
Okay, down forward one and QC back two. That was good. But then you stop. Yep. See, you did forward one plus two into deep dive one, and then nothing happened. So you kind of just stopped right there.
Yeah.
Now, it's totally fine in theory. That was playing it kind of safe, but something to keep in mind with this game as part of your set play is that not doing something on some level implicitly gives your opponent permission to do something.
Okay.
And to an extent, that's kind of proven by what follows up afterwards. Where you just backdash, and then now I just come in, run my full crouch down back one.
Into the bubble.
The fact that nothing is really happening here is giving me options because I'm noticing that like after two or three, it takes two or three for you to really get annoyed enough to want to do something. So after full crouch down back one and then 1-1, I rip
Oh.
armor, which you don't do anything at first. You just dash blocked, which is fine. But then you saw the Gamma Howl and wanted to whiff punish it.
Yeah, I thought I was far enough to be able to do so, and then I got hit by it.
I will say, if you like hard read Gamma Howl and you want to down forward two whiff punish it that way, that's fine, go for it. But if Gamma Howl just comes out and you react enough, and you're like reacting to wanting to punish it, throw is a pretty strong option in general.
Okay.
Especially if you're a character with I-11 command throws, which I don't think Paul is.
I'm
Hold
not
on.
too sure, but I know he has a full grab game.
He does, but oh no, he does. Obviously 2+4 back isn't, but wait, hold on a second. 4 1 plus 2 is 12. 4 4 1 plus 2 is 12. But back 1 plus 4 is 11.
Interesting.
Go figure.
I didn't know that.
That's interesting. So that might not be a bad idea to respond to Gamma Howl with back 1 plus 4, because that being an I-11 command throw, you'll most likely outspeed anything Jack throws out. If you're quick on the
Okay.
punish, you'll catch him on the armor frames, and if the Jack player goes for bubble in that moment, you'll interrupt them with a throw, and they won't be able to break it.
I want to see a lot more people
Okay.
trying to
Okay.
challenge
Okay.
that.
So try to just grab you before with bubble,
If you're
with
gonna do
with
anything,
back one before.
yeah, if you're gonna do anything, grab's a pretty good option. But also, you could have just not played into it, and in that situation, you would have blocked the bubble, and you would have been able to 13 frame punish me.
Shoulder
So
or back one too.
that's just something to just look out for.
Okay, okay, okay.
And like I said, if I timed that stomp right, this all would have been completely guaranteed. So don't worry about not getting that.
Okay, okay.
So power crush, I
And
go
that's
throw.
also a 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So a little
I was
fucked up
pressing
thing.
every button besides 2.
That's fair. So like I said, you did good wall pressure here. So because I fucked this up, but then reading it low, I assume you went for forward 4, and then you just kept the pressure on me. You notice that I was kind of pausing, expecting you to come in, so you do. Down forward 1, nothing happens, so you just rip sidestep 3. And then you take those plus frames to rip another down forward 1 interaction, and then expecting me now to do something because the last time you did down forward 4, you did a slow option, you just go straight into QC back 2, again, just keeping the pressure on. That's why I say like that was like really good wall pressure, because you changed up what happened after the down back 1.
Yeah.
Because that was down back 1 into nothing. Down back 1 delayed timing button. Down back 1 QC back mix up button. You basically sped up the timing in each of those 3 interactions as it built
Okay.
up to something that I increasingly needed to do something about. So again, like really solid set play and wall pressure here.
I that was a misinput.
Yeah, of course. This is also really neat too. Um, this little down 1 too, because you had heat, so your death fist became an armor break.
Yeah.
So just something kind of cool with lockdown in general. This probably only is going to happen with King and Jack, to be totally fair. But I wonder if I actually could have hit you with Gamma Hal 4 here. Probably not with how quickly that comes out. And then you just rush in with the Armored Headbutt. If you played more of the set like that, whew.
That's something I have to do. I'm just afraid to do it sometimes.
All right, here we are.
And
So,
then yeah, I know what I ripped 3-2,
yeah.
knowing you'll probably duck the 2.
So notice already what happened right here at the beginning of this round, because you did jab into sidestep 3, and well, actually jab and a dash up sidestep 3. So just a little read here, but then you start sidewalking. But I just do full crouch knockback 1-1 instead, which you cannot avoid with sidewalk left at this range. If you were
Yeah.
like one backdash away, yes, but up close, yeah. Although if I just ripped a regular standing down back 1, you would have been right.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So frame trap attempt right here, full crouch down forward 4-2. This is minus 14 if I finish the string. It's minus 12
Yeah.
on the first hit, but the second hit is minus 14. So go ahead. I'm gonna DM these moves to you just so that you can have a list of them. But I do want you to practice punishing these buttons.
With back 3.
Just practice punishing with them in general, because you got to figure, if you do not make your opponent feel the consequences for their mistakes, then they're not actually making mistakes.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
you gotta make. If I'm able to just keep throwing these buttons at you, so carelessly, you gotta make me feel that shit and force me to change up my game and tighten up. But if I'm able to just keep throwing moves at you, that's as I say, what happens if just when you don't know when you don't know the matchup and they're just getting kind of just knowledge checked and whatnot.
Yeah. And then I just let you get away with too much.
Yep. So if you're again you being Paul, um, if you're not sure, jab it. If you know for a fact it is punishable, you can just do back 1-2 just fine.
Okay.
And of course, if you know it's launched, then please launch it. But yeah, don't like stress it too much until you actually sit in practice mode and put it in your hands. And 3-2 right here. Obviously 15 frame button. So
Yeah, I should have known you were gonna duck the high. I just I don't know what I was thinking there.
I will say, standing 3 on its own is a pretty good, just general poking button for Paul. It's got
Yeah,
deceptively good range. It hits really low to the ground, and even if people sidestep it, they do have to be careful about the extension. So then now right here, wall combo, and I've talked about it before.
don't duck at wall.
Not literally don't duck at wall, period, because obviously there will be times where you should.
I was expecting seed planter there. That's why.
So
Before I ducked,
here's a fucked up question. Sea Planner has not popped up a single time in this game.
I was trying to think ahead, but it ended
Yeah.
up killing me
Yeah. So I will say
because we
also
haven't done seed planter the whole time.
that's fair, but don't try to put words in your opponent's mouth.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like if you just stood blocked here and I did go for seed planner, then you now know going forward with the set that I'm willing to throw that button out. And not only that, but I threw that button out on my first real like wall Loki situation, which technically means I went straight for it. Um,
Yeah.
so what I will say, again, this shouldn't be done literally all the time because there are no absolutes in fighting games except for the fact that everything is a risk. But what I will say is that at this health range right here, I'm pretty sure even 2 seed planters wouldn't have killed you.
Mm.
But
So
ducking into the hit confirmable mid wall splat absolutely does.
yeah.
So that is one thing. If you have the health to take the low, oftentimes the safest risk reward is indeed to take the low. But that's the thing about this game that's so fucked up though, because A, you can't just keep eating lows all the time. Holy shit, don't I know that? But then also B, especially if you're up against like Mishimas or whatever who have like really strong power lows like hell sweeps and whatnot, even if they are risky, those
Mhm.
shits like force you to do something. Because if you do not do anything about those buttons, you will get pieced the fuck up by them. And to some extent, that's what I do with Jaxels as well. Obviously, C Planner is like the closest comparison to Hell Sweep, but even accounting for that, the lows do the job of applying mental stack and putting you in situations, and then I can start making bigger plays off of what you've shown me that you're willing to do in those situations. A lot of the what I'm doing is basically setting you up to flinch and I'm trying to find when those moments happen so I can cash out with a bigger reward like while standing 2-4 or while standing 1 or something of the sort, or like down
Mhm.
forward 4 for counter hit into heat engage, or even just raw down forward 2.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
game 2, we probably shouldn't have quite as much to talk about with this one because again, a lot of the same concepts, but still. Down forward 4, it whiffs, no whiff punish.
What could I have whiff punished with that?
Oh, the down forward 4 here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably.
you absolutely could have
Probably
just
could.
ripped down forward 2 on me, but of course you would have had to be real sharp on that.
Yeah.
You 100% expected to block it, but that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I didn't think I'd have the spacing for it for
yeah.
that second one.
That just comes with time and experience with the game. To be totally honest. Anyway,
And then
this whole sequence right here with the 2 pulverizer setups, I actually want to talk about that more in depth after we're done with the rest of this game.
okay.
And finally,
And
there's the
there
C
he
planner.
is. Yeah. I was like, oh, he did the seed planter.
She please, but yeah. Stay down. I'll talk about that Oki in a bit.
Okay.
I fuck on my punish here. Full crush down by 1 pressure. Again, you're doing a lot of nothing. That actually was almost the same thing as the other full crouch down back 1 situation that I was talking about that led into Gamma Hal bubble.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't expecting bubble there either at wall.
Yeah. See, down forward 1, down back 1, then forward 4 over the second down back 1. Nice. Good punish right here. I'm glad that you had that punish on lock.
Yeah, I because I feel like it's risky to death fist there because if you whiff, it's like punish.
Yes.
And then sidewalk kind of messed me up there too.
Yeah. I like the little dash delays into the heat smash there, but that time you were close enough to make a hit. And jab and down back one strings to control you. That low parry honestly was just a read.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Shoulder whiffs, no punish, but you absolutely expected to block it. Down back one, no wall standing one punish. You tried to sidestep, but got caught by the
And is that a
throw.
1+2?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
Alright.
was like, I'm not getting hit with. I'm not gonna get hit with the freaking hand at wall. I
Yeah.
was like, I'll wait.
So we talked about this whiff down forward four already. So dick jab to interrupt your bullshit, and then just ripping full crouch down back one. But what's cool about this though is that I've talked about before. Again, -6, but Jack is in crouch,
Mhm.
and thus can rip this high crushing sweep here. So most jacks won't do this. I'm going to tell you right now. Only the sauciest ones willing to take risks will rip this button like that, because this is kind of reactable. But I did kind of read that you were either going to lock up or you were going to retaliate with highs. And the misinput right here. Let's make it the second one. But what's cool about this is that I come up to you full back pulverizer, first and second hit again, and this time you go forward four, and that's really cool. I kind of feel a little bit bad that I blocked this in this situation because I still do want to encourage this, because immediately you started picking paper to cover my rock.
Yeah.
I after full crush down back 1-1, I ripped the high crushing low, so now you're doing the low crushing fucking heat engager. Again, like really solid set play right here. This is
Thank
like
you.
this is just, what you need to do just to kind of keep changing things up in response to the opponent changing things up.
Mhm.
Jackhammer lands, I rip for another one. And then
You-
kind of just figuring that after the next move you were going to mash, just jab down forward four.
Mhm.
Let's see here. Yeah, just because in general that's like twice now that you've mashed after blocking something from me. So I just figured that you would do it that time. So yeah, unfortunate. And
Yeah,
then yeah,
yeah. The
same thing
seed
as
planner.
we just talked about before. You got blown up for ducking last time, so this time I just went straight for seeds. And critically, I again, just to follow up on the point I made earlier about, pick the option that won't kill you. Only now, when the seeds kills you, does it come out.
Okay. So when I'm at like that certain life, I should watch out for seed planner just in case.
It's less that and more. I mean, I'll be honest. If you ducked there, that would have been a crazy big dick decision. That would have told me, okay, so he's just ducking. So next time I'll just, rip a mid and blow him up. You know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Unfortunately, in this situation, I mean, a 50-50 is a 50-50. It is what it is. But it's not just a 50-50, There's context, there's, where your life bar is at, there's how much health your opponent has, and thus, how much risk can they, bear to take in any given situation. Because like
Mhm.
say if we were both like really low health and my health was like right here just above like rage range, like yeah, I could kill you with seeds, but you also could kill me if you blocked seeds, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So again, that will affect the decision making, but yeah, like I said, in general, um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, never mind. I've already said what I basically wanted to say. I would just be repeating myself at this point. That sidestep was honestly kind of crazy. I just did that just because I know that
Yeah.
Paul generally is weak to sidestep, right? But I did not expect to just get that sidestep whiff punish on a fucking jab.
I remember that happening and I was just like, I just threw a jab.
Boy, I have been saying that in Tekken 7 for so long.
was like, I just did one jab.
This little Oki situation right here. 1-1 down. This is a quick back roll knockdown. So you
Okay.
can't. You fell over, flat as a pancake right here. But if you held back, you would have come back on your feet. You still would have been minus, but you wouldn't have eaten the stomp guaranteed.
So hold back on that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, sure, but also it legitimately is an option to not hold back and eat the stomp because then you can like side roll or tech roll off of it.
Okay.
Just because if you do quick back roll into this and Jack has install or has heat, then you're back rolling into a Gamma Hal mix up that you cannot do anything about. And I mean you can't do anything about because Gamma Hal forward 2, the drill punch, will beat out armor moves, including Rage Art.
Interesting. Okay, so you just have to risk the duck.
You have to try to
Yeah.
react to the duck or just take that mix
Hold it.
because
Yeah.
and even then if Jack has install, armor is not really an option anyway because the high also beats armor now with install. But
Yeah.
then the mid there's also the homing mid. It's fucked. So I'm not telling you necessarily hold back on this knockdown here. Just know that the main reason to hold back on it is just because the stomp is guaranteed. But take the guaranteed grounded hit to get up in a more favorable position is a totally viable decision in Tekken. You very often have to make that decision against Ling Xiaoyu all the time.
Okay. So depending on the situation, really.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Well, depending on the situation, but it's also just one of those things that just kind of makes players who they are. Just which decisions are they more comfortable making? That's
hmm
what you have to do to adapt. Is just see what their comfort zone and what decisions they're making, and then just adjust what you are doing to basically put the round peg in the round hole versus what they're doing.
hmm
Because if you are staying down on this Oki every time, then the only correct option for me to do is to just keep doing the stomp, you know?
Yeah, the
But
guaranteed stomp. Yeah.
then it's like, okay, are you going to take that every time or are you going to start, holding back on it? I have to look out for those things,
hmm
you know?
Would I have enough time to like hold back and maybe hop kick or no?
Again, the drill punch outspeeds rage arts.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
and even then like that's only 3 frames slower than the guard break and only 5 frames slower than the homing mid. So, if you're gonna do any kind of button against Gamma Hal in this sort of situation, honestly, Dick Jab is the option to do, except for the fact that it loses
hmm
to Bubble. But again, in the quick back roll situation, you kind of just have to take that mix genuinely because you cannot move, you cannot avoid any of the options, and you can't interrupt any of the options, except for like maybe Gamma Hal like 3 if they read that you are gonna do that. But I mean, shit, man, at that point, eh. Anyway.
Uh,
Yeah, so once again, kind of just piecing you up with Full Crouch Down Back 1. And
and then yeah.
I do like that you actually went for throw here. Um, because the only problem is that if I fucking just ripped the third hit in that situation without charging it,
I
I
would
would have
die.
you would have died. Um,
Yeah.
but I just kind of figured that you would have kept hesitating, and that's why I charged it. But then now you're not hesitating, so Gamma Hal armor move.
Yeah. Ugh. I tried hop kicking there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Technically speaking, I didn't necessarily have to even do anything out of Gamma Hal. I could have just blocked. But the fact that you already showed willingness to swing pretty much put Bubble in my mind as a good idea.
Mm.
Especially since the throw just got broken. Yeah,
I thought you could do
backdash.
the high option.
Nope.
I was ready for the high option off that.
I like the 4-4 there just immediately after a down back 1. Because yes, I do very often like to do lows after lows. Getting good punish on Atlas Hammer. I really wouldn't worry about getting better than that. Because yes, you can Death Fist punish it, but I mean, shit,
Risky.
man. Just take the forward 3-1. Good punish on this right here. That is minus 14, so you do get while standing 3-2. And then because the down 1-2 worked last time, you just do it again this time. And also as well, like I mean, shit, minus 13, that's fine. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and just
I'll
good
take that
timing
risk
delay
that
mix
wall.
into heat smash. Just again, you just played really fast and just stuck to me like glue, and that's why like so much of my offense and like the other games are just focused on just kind of piecing you up with small Tekken just to interrupt your bullshit. And then when I got
Hmm.
you hesitating, I started really going in. If you played a lot, just like the in the other game, if you played a lot more like that and just taking your plus frames and taking your advantages when you had it, um, you definitely could have potentially run me over. Not saying that I wouldn't have adjusted and started doing things to stop it, but that's kind of the thing, though. If you have the momentum and you're the one dictating what's going on, and I'm the one having to respond, that's not good. You don't want to be the person in that position in this game.
I should run my momentum more often. I just feel like sometimes if I do, I have at the back of my head, I have like the fear of maybe getting hop kicked that wall or something of the sort like that. So that's why I tend to back off more often than I try to take my momentum. But I should, in theory, take more of it.
In general, that's a big part of why the neutral in the poking game is where you want to get your data acquisition.
Mm, okay.
Just because how people respond to the little things can be pretty indicative of how they respond to the big things. Because if they don't know when the big things are coming, they can't apply like the proper defense to them, properly.
Hmm.
That's that's a lot of why like genuinely the whole fucking Deathfist Demo Man mix up game of Paul is so damn scary because the cost of being wrong or just simply just getting a little bit too passive in your movement and you're just getting caught by Demo Man, it gets really fucked up because now it's like, damn man, he's actually willing to throw Demo Man at me like that, and it's also like, wait, fuck, I'm not properly spacing around the Demo Man. Shit, I don't want to have to duck for this move. you know, so
I
jab
do have to
string,
run that mix more often too.
yeah. Um, Again, not all the damn time because you do stand to lose more health than you stand to gain in damage against them by going for Demo
Hmm.
Man. But you got to put people in situations, dude. You know,
Yeah.
full crouch down forward, forward to unpunish, and then caught the low parry here. Again, you expected to block this shoulder here, but a quick down 1+2 shoulder yourself for back 1-2 would have been perfectly fine to with punish this. I like
And I
that you went
think
for
that would
the.
have
Hmm?
I think that would have wall splatted too. Side wall splatted at least.
Yeah.
If I would have just hit you a shoulder.
Um, I'm gonna have to swap characters real quick in practice mode because now I'm curious if Paul's generic side switch on break. Because you did the one throw there um, in order to do a side switch into your off yourself, but I broke it.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Defense, just okay. Let's see here. Okay, one throw doesn't, and uh, oh damn, neither of them do. That's unfortunate. So yeah, good try.
So it so it
Hmm?
so like if you didn't block the one grab, it would have just switched sides
Yeah,
and then
that was the one throw, the one
yeah.
where he kicks him back over his head.
The Ken throw, as I call it.
Yeah. So again, good that you went for it there, but yeah, unfortunately, I did break it. But then down back one, full crouch down back one, and I do this is because I figured that you would start getting stressed. Doing the while standing 2-4, which you didn't duck into +4, and then I ripped the 13 frame shoulder right here, which, by the way, do you know how minus his shoulder is?
14.
23.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not kidding.
So
You can
I,
you can delayed hop kick punish it.
so if you rip shoulder, I could back three you
Well, or just shredder kick me.
or shredder kick as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like most shoulders, not all of them, but most shoulders are launch punishable, usually 15 or 16, sometimes 18, but this one uniquely is really bad at 23. By all means,
Interesting.
if the Jack player has the titanium balls to just rip shoulder on a frame trap like this, by all means, fucking kill them for it. Again, make them
Okay.
feel the consequences of their mistakes. Because I fucked up here. I was wrong.
Yeah,
I was
I
hella
went wrong
wrong.
for it. Man, going over the match now and realizing my mistakes, it's just like,
This is why you
I
do
could have
this.
done so much. Yeah.
Because there will be certain things that you will definitely notice and you'll remember from the match, but it's a whole other thing to actually like explicitly look at it with your own eyes. While standing one, by the way, is minus 13.
Okay. I'm gonna have to lab that too.
Yep. And yes, it is critical. Not just to study the frame data for the characters, but to actually go into practice mode and do it. Not don't just
Yeah.
use like the punishment training. Actually, like pull up the character, go into training mode defense, and pick the moves from the move list, or just do them yourself, and set them on like a random spread, or even just do them one at a time, and like literally put it in your hands. Because it's one thing to know it, but a lot of people will be slow on punishes or just won't do punishes at all because they get kind of deer in the headlights with it. They're seeing it, they know it, but they're not able to, snap process it in a way where it happens and they just do their punish.
Yeah.
So again,
Hmm.
you just sit with it, drill into your hands a couple of times, just get a muscle memory for it. And genuinely, this is like something that everyone should be doing is just going through the entire cast, a character here, a character there, pretty much once a night and just spending like 5 minutes just doing that. You know, because that's how you just kind of again just put it in your hands for a longer period of time so that you're more ready when it's time for the actual test.
Yeah. I have to do that with Jack, like ASAP.
Well, what I will say is that you definitely do not have to worry too much about that because I'm basically the only Jack that you're realistically going to be playing offline for a while. But
Yeah.
I do want to stop beating you just because you're not used to the matchup.
Yeah. I have to really learn the matchup.
And also, as well, um, again, a consistent trend with a lot of that set was that you played fairly scared. And I understand, make no mistake. Again, that's something that solves with time. But I want to point out those 2 rounds that you won, you just kept going in. You were not afraid at all. Once you got your advantage and you were certain of it, you just pushed my shit in and didn't give me
Yeah.
room to breathe. A lot of those other rounds were lost on you basically being inactive and just letting me do things. And again, it's good to just kind of hold things and block on occasion, but you have to mix things up. At some point, you have to start. If you're going to be doing nothing, you need to punish me when I fuck up.
Yeah, and that just comes with character knowledge that I have to work on with ladding.
Also, just being used to it because
That too.
like if the Jack player is so comfortable throwing out down back ones and full crouch down back ones like that, again, you can see okay. They like to come up, go into crouch, and full crouch down back one. So whenever they are dashing up and going into crouch like that, low parry, side step, left, side walk left or whatever. you know, don't just stand there and let
Yeah.
it happen. Also, as well, um, it ties into the general RPS of neutral in itself, which some people will call Sansukumi, which is, basically that you have keep out with punishment and rush down. If a jack is running up on you, um, with instant full crouch down back one like that, that's basically rush down. They're going in, they're throwing buttons at you.
So I should try to keep you out with like 3 or down 2, down 4 2,
You either and or
or down 4
move
1.
around to kind of not give me the space where I can comfortably do that. Or if I am kind of getting within the space, you throw out your jabs, your down ones, your standing threes, or whatever, as like, kind of putting a line in the sand for me to not cross, or to even hit me if I just get too close.
Right.
The only catch with you doing that is if you're doing that too regularly, and this is a problem I will run into sometimes with my sidestep twos, because sidestep two for Jack is an amazingly good keep out button. Um, is that if you can space yourself properly against people doing that, you can wait out those buttons and then whiff punish them. Again, with
Mhm.
Jack, he's got that big high, punch to the head that's plus fucking 9 on block and knocks you down for a guaranteed follow up on hit. It's very possible to see the Jack player doing that and kind of baiting them and throwing him out by just doing a quick dash block that's not that quite in range of that button. They throw it out, you see it, bam, down forward two, kill him for it.
Okay.
And that applies to all characters. Again, that's just one of the ways you can get around keep out. Because if they're just pushing out the buttons for when you're trying to go in, then trick them into doing it so you can punish them for doing it.
Okay.
But of course, if you're waiting for hitboxes to come out that you can whiff punish, then you might kind of get a little deer in the headlights when they suddenly just run at you and now are throwing hitboxes at you in close range where they can't whiff. And
Yeah,
that's
and then
why it's called an RPS, because each of these different tactics lose to each other.
yeah, yeah. I know for Russian you do keep out, and then for keep out you do whiff punishes. But it's just hard to for me to identify which ones I should be using at that current moment.
Indeed. And the more in depth you get in this game, the faster people are rotating around those options, and the more subtle the differences get. But they are very much there, and that is the exact reason you do VOD review, because when you actually are like looking at the game and the actions that people are taking, you actually you start developing like a literacy for the decisions that are being made, and the good that does for you is that it lets you see the decisions for what they are and
Right.
how people are changing up the decisions to cover different options instead of just simple things like, okay, is he pressing a mid, is he pressing a low, is he pressing like a throw or whatever. You're seeing, okay, this is a hop kick here, this is a jumping move. They read that I was going to go for low, or okay, shit, they did a power crush. They figured I was going to mash, and I wasn't going to be frame tight enough to account for that. you know or
Yeah.
yeah, just shit like that. So
Hmm.
yeah. Um. Anyway, I think that should be basically about it. You said you had to leave about 5:30, so we should start wrapping this up. But
That was
I'm gonna
very
throw
helpful.
some of Jack's punishable buttons at you, and I just want you to
Okay.
do a little bit of homework with punishing them in general, and also just set the Jack bot to do dash up, instant full crouch down back 1-1, and just kind of just get used to moving around that button in neutral.
Okay.
Just as
Yeah.
like a general
This is
just drill off the top of your head, and then if you want matches, by all means, of course, hit me up.
yeah, I definitely will. This was actually very, very helpful.
Nice. So
I really appreciate it.
got any general questions real quick before we wrap up?
No, I mean, just I mean, I'll probably figure out questions as I'm doing the labbing process and stuff. At the moment, I don't have any.
Okay,
Just you just went over everything and just basically covered everything I was probably going to ask. So,
that's fair. So yeah. All right. So
but I really appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem. Like, you gotta figure, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little selfish doing this because, yeah, obviously I'm trying to help you out, but I mean, you and everyone else in the scene getting better forces me to be better, and I am feeling good enough about this game that I can actually like play and compete in it. So I want to get back into this shit, and that means is you motherfuckers are gonna be held accountable.
Yeah, and I want to get better too. So,
Yep. So, alrighty, let's go ahead and log out then.
but
See you, AML.
thank you. Have a good one.
You too.